Stephen Colbert didn't know the world was about to stop. The camera lights beamed hot against his skin. The laughter of the studio audience thundered in his ears, and his monologue rolled on, smooth as silk. But what happened next would shake late-night television and millions of viewers to their core. It started with a smirk. "Ladies and gentlemen," Colbert said, cueing the joke card with a flick of his wrist. "Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the man who thinks vaccines are a government mind control device and that mercury makes a great cocktail, is now running for president, because apparently, this is the timeline we live in." Laughter, applause. The studio buzzed with energy. Then came the zinger. "I guess conspiracy theories run in the family. If only we could vaccinate against delusion." The punchline landed, but the smile on Colbert's face didn't last. A hush spread through the audience, not confusion, but something colder. Unseen by the cameras, John Kennedy Jr., the late Robert F. Kennedy's son, and once reclusive host of the independent news show Eyes Wide Open, was in the front row. No one expected him to be there. He hadn't announced his attendance. He rarely appeared in public, let alone on someone else's show. His sudden presence was more than a surprise, it was a statement. Stephen, too used to being the smartest man in the room, didn't see it coming. John stood slowly. The cameras scrambled to catch the moment, but what they captured wasn't fury or retaliation. It was heartbreak. "Stephen," John said, his voice low but steady, "I didn't come here to argue. I came here to listen. To understand why a man with so much influence chooses ridicule over dialogue." The audience froze. The stage lights dimmed, as if the building itself knew something sacred was happening. "I grew up in the shadow of a name," John continued, walking calmly to the edge of the stage, his eyes never leaving Stephen's. "A name that meant power to some, pain to others. My father's legacy has been twisted, mocked, politicized. And still, I stayed silent. But tonight, you mocked more than politics. You mocked loss. You mocked grief." The room went pin drop, silent. "My uncle was shot in front of America. My father died trying to make this country better. I lost them both before I could even understand who they were. And now, when someone bearing that name dares to ask questions whether you agree or not, you reduce them to a punchline." Stephen shifted uncomfortably. For once, words escaped him. "I came on this show tonight to announce something," John said, taking out a folded piece of paper. "But not anymore. I came to launch a movement of compassion, of open debate, of courageous listening. I was going to invite America to join me, to heal, to build something new together." He paused. "But now I realize, we're not ready. Not when mockery is more welcome than meaning." And with that, he turned to face the audience. A single tear rolled down his cheek. "I am ending Eyes Wide Open. Not because I failed, but because I refuse to become what I despise. If a show can't build bridges, then it shouldn't exist." He stepped down from the stage and walked out of the studio. The cameras kept rolling, but Stephen couldn't speak. The audience, unsure whether to clap, cry, or simply sit in awe, remained still. Live television had never felt so real. The clip went viral within minutes. Millions shared it. Not because of scandal, but because of sincerity. The raw honesty, the vulnerability of a man refusing to let hate shape his legacy, struck a nerve in a divided world. That night, Eyes Wide Open published one final video, a letter from John. He spoke directly to the camera. "If you're watching this, thank you. You cared enough to hear the full story. This isn't about me, or Colbert, or politics. This is about us. If we want to heal this country, we have to stop cheering for the best insult and start honoring the deepest truth. We're all hurting. We're all hoping, and we all deserve to be heard." The screen faded to black with 5 simple words: "Don't mock what you don't understand." In the weeks that followed, public conversation began to shift. Not dramatically, not like magic, but enough. Enough for rival pundits to have civil conversations on air. Enough for social media influencers to open comment sections with grace. Enough for late-night hosts to start rethinking the easy laugh. In favor of the lasting word, Stephen Colbert, for his part, issued no grand apology. Instead, on his next show, he told a story of a man who reminded him that every joke has a shadow. That comedy, when careless, can cut deeper than we realize. I was wrong, he said simply. Not for having an opinion, but for forgetting the weight of someone else's pain. John, if you're watching, thank you. And somewhere in a quiet home, far from the stage lights, John Kennedy Jr. turned off the television. He smiled. Not because he'd won anything, but because, maybe for the first time in a long while, someone had finally listened. Moral of the story: in a world obsessed with being right, the real power lies in being kind.